Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Lao Tzu. I asked if you were ready, but I'm still eating a cookie. I'm such a weirdo. Why would I do that? But okay. So hi, my name is Riane, and welcome to the Money Mindset Shift webinar conversation. I am a mindfulness coach, a yoga teacher, and the mama of two beautiful children that I love dearly. And I am here to support myself, my family, my friends, and whoever I'm meant to serve in shifting their money mindset towards abundance and allowing and just really rewrite a narrative that I've lived for such a long time, and tap into an energy that's totally accessible. Simplify what that means and just be in it. I'm here with my good friend Zayna de Gaia, who has inspired me over the years to be more in my power than I've ever been, and has always supported me in every single transformation that I've had over, I think it's almost 10 years now, something like that. So without further ado, Zayna de Gaia, go ahead, introduce yourself.
So great. It's so great to be here with you, Ria. You know, I love this. I love that when you created this, this is your from your heart and from your creativity. And it's a journey that we're both on, is to, enter the land of abundance from the inside out. And really, I believe we teach what we need to learn most, and there's a reason we're both on this journey. I know for me, it was 2 years ago when I gave birth to my son, Noor, and he passed away at birth, that it was this those moments allow you to go in and really look. And I asked God to guide me on where to put my energy next. And, lo and behold, I get approached by a dear friend of mine about this financial literacy platform that teaches people what we're not taught in schools, what we should be taught in schools about money, but we're not. And I remember being like, what, God, you want me to do finance stuff? Like, that is not my background. And at the same time, I really got it. I was like, oh, this is for me first. I need to educate myself. And I also needed to start to expand my mindset, or maybe even, I would say, heal my relationship with money. At 42 years old, I really saw that I've been hiding behind spirituality, like a pretense, like I don't care about money, material things don't matter. Um, it wasn't an empowering place to be for me. I think there is some truth in that, but it's a bypass if we don't deal with that money does matter. It's not only an energy, but it's a real physical resource that we use to move things in this 3D world. And I knew that I needed to shift my mindset to access the 5D mindset of money while
Mhm.
operating in 3D. And
Oh.
it's been a refinement, right? I think we've been learning this together, growing together. And
Mhm.
even like, I appreciate Ree when you say things, well, that's not very 5D, right? When we
Mhm.
catch ourselves like, growing into this mindset and then letting go of the things that no longer serve us,
Yeah.
the indications or the signs that we hear just through our language where scarcity is still existing,
Mhm.
where a lack of faith is still there. I think my biggest prayer these days is just that I can lean more into faith and really believe,
It's
that,
so it's
yeah.
so incredible that you say lean more into faith because I just bought um I just bought a jar of mustard seeds. Are you
Mm.
familiar with that scripture?
It rings a bell, but I'm not at all. I know there's something with the mustard seed, but please educate me.
Okay. Have you ever seen a mustard seed?
No,
Okay. Oh my goodness. It's the tiniest, tiniest thing.
really.
It's like it's almost like the size of a chia seed. You've seen the chia
Okay.
seed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up the scripture real quick.
Do.
It's Matthew 17:20, and it says, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to here, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you.
Mm, that's Can you say it again?
Yeah. Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you.
So does that mean you just need very little faith? Like faith is that powerful that you just
Even if you have an inkling of faith, a
oh wow.
little bit of faith.
Oh
Like,
wow.
so what I take from it is, what I'm learning from it is the fact that I'm declaring that I have faith in God is enough. And that it doesn't have to be this grandiose, huge feeling right now. Because as I declare that I have faith in God, in the most high, and all that is good, and all of that, um, that grow my faith grows. One of the things that's helped me with practicing faith when things get tough and I'm feeling like really is someone gave me a mustard seed at at a vision board party, and
Mm.
I've had it. I've had it, and it got lost in my car because it's so
So
tiny. But I watched a video of a time lapse of a mustard seed being planted. Do you know how big mustard plants are? How big they get?
no.
They're huge.
Oh wow.
They're huge. And it's just like, that was just like, wow. To have just a small amount right now, even if it's right now, just to know, okay, I am practicing having faith. I have faith. I declare I have faith. Whatever that seed looks like or feels like for me, just knowing that over time it's going to grow and that it's going to be unwavering, and that even with my declaration, I can already do the impossible. That's wild.
Mm.
It taps into, you create your reality. for me. That whole narrative, it taps into all of those um new age conversations. And it's such a beautiful remembrance for me because now I get to tap into, it's almost like I'm coming full circle in my hero's journey where I started when I was a kid in the Christian faith, and then I explored all the other things and got what I needed and got what I got out of other things, and now I'm applying these 3D concepts from Christianity scripture and all the other things I've learned along the way and just bringing it back and having it mean what it needs to mean for me to have that kind of unwavering faith.
Wow. I wasn't expecting to talk about this today, Ria, but I think it's a really great conversation. Sometimes people will accuse religion of like taking away from one's power because you give your power away to something outside of you, which in the case of religion, it's like God being outside of you. So a lot of the conversations in the Bible, like this conversation you speak about, you know, it is there are parallel conversations in the new age um theology, philosophy. They're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
There is at some point there's so much that we can control, but there's a point where we have to all agree, whether you believe in God or the universe, that there is a part of life that is mystery, that is beyond my humanity. Some would even call it nature. If you just take nature, nature makes us feel very small and insignificant because when a hurricane comes or earthquakes or one of these big things, like I know in Florida, we think we're pushing away the hurricanes all the time. I don't know if you see us do it. Every time they're coming towards us, everybody's like, woo. And then we're all like, we pushed it away, which I think is awesome. But but
I'm being human.
the recognition of that's something that's bigger than my humanity that I like to call the mystery, falling in love with the mystery, embracing the mystery and knowing that there's a mystery. That's the letting go and letting God. That's the part of us that, or letting go and giving it up to the universe, however way it empowers you to say it. But I think we're all saying the same thing. And there's a lot of these new age principles that are in the Bible, but they're not accepted in new age because they use the word God. Whereas we're all just saying the same thing. There's something greater than us, that if we give up control of what we think we can control that is beyond our control, then we actually have the ability to reshape physical realm, which is ironic, like letting go allows you to actually I'm not going to say be in control, but maybe to be able to see things manifest in the physical realm that you want to see manifest, but then you have a different way about it because you're not taking full credit for it. There's a humility to manifesting, where I think the new age, when you start to learn about manifesting, it's very arrogant in terms of like, I'm creating all my physical reality. Like you are, but there's a co-creation happening with a mysterious.
That's the key. Co-creation. It's a co-creation. With what or whom? Does anybody really know aside from their inner knowing, which is that faith? Like it's a co-creation in every way. Like even to make a beautiful baby. It's a co-creation.
Absolutely. I think that's the best example. I think that's for me where the rubber hit the road, or where my universe collapsed, is when I got like, I have no dominion over life and I have no dominion over death. And then maybe I have no dominion over anything in between. And that just collapsed my whole, because I was master manifester, arrogant as F, that I can just create my reality. But when you get that we don't have dominion over those two things, it really shifts that perception. And at first for me, it was super disempowering, Ria. I was like, I went from like I have total control to like I have no control. And then I didn't know what to do with myself anymore. I didn't want to pray, manifest, visualize, do any of that stuff. I'm like, what's the point? And I'm still recovering from those two extremes and finding that center where, like you said, it's the co-creation. Man, I was not expecting to go this deep this morning. I was going to talk about the rule of 72. but there is, in the very breath that we breathe, the possibility of realizing that co-creation and being moved by it with every breath, because it exists in that which breathes us, if we're willing to like be aware of it.
Well, you
So
know, I it, I love that we can go this deep, but also I want to know what is the rule of 72, and let's see how it correlates, because there's got to be a reason why. I mean, maybe there's no reason. Maybe it's all empty and meaningless, but let's see what is
well,
the rule.
I think, for me, it's important to, most important is to wake up in the morning and take the time to connect and to be aware of the vibration I wake up into, set up the rest of my day. Yeah.
Mhm,
And then there's the practicality of money, which for me, I hadn't focused on my whole life because nobody ever taught me these things. So
mhm.
part of
That's
this
why
is
I asked you, do you feel like $1,000,000? Because I do today.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And, like anything, like knowing the practicality of things and how things work, then gives us the how to. So if we have the mindset and we have the how to, then it's really the merging of the 3D, which is the practicality of things, with the higher dimensions. And then having that combined, because we are living in a multidimensional reality right now. There's so many parallel universes that we're all existing in and kind of navigating. So the world of money is no different. It's actually easy to see with the world of money, because you've got what I consider the 3D of money, which is the traditional finance, the banks, insurance companies, big institutions, and really in 3D, it's a small group of people that's controlling all of the money. And especially since 1971, since the United States moved from the gold standard to the fiat standard, we literally moved to a money system that had integrity. It was backed with gold, to a money system that literally is backed by the government's word and trust. And really, all they've been doing since then is printing more money, which allows them to control the value of the dollar. Whereas when we moved into like the blockchain technology, since Bitcoin was the first, um, it was the first successful experiment of blockchaining money and creating a currency that was now controlled by millions of people instead of a small group of people. So, I mean, just the design of Bitcoin is, it can't be corrupted, it can't be controlled, because it's not a small group of people anymore. It's anybody that's mining blockchain around the world, and that's millions of people. Um, so it shifted something, this digital asset economy. I mean, there's so much more to it, but Bitcoin is like it's the seed that is growing this massive world that we call decentralized finance, or just digital assets in general, because decentralized finance is just only one area, which is finances, that's being blockchained, that's entering this new world of how things are done. And in 4D digital assets, things are transparent. The people are like, oh, crypto allows criminal activity, da, da, da. It's actually the opposite. Crypto actually allows you allows transparency. We can see the ledgers of everything that's going on Bitcoin. So anyways, and then the 5D of money, um, For me, it's when it all disappears. Like, the whole concept of money disappears. It's not that money disappears, but the illusion of money then becomes apparent, and then we're just, like, living in an energy-based society where you have abundance based on how much you're serving humanity. Like, it's just so but I wanted to go over today more of the practical things of 3D of money, and we can do a
Mhm.
whole other conversation about the practical things of 4D of money and of 5D of money because there's practicality to all of it. So I'm going to take a few minutes to go into the three principles of wealth, Ria. Um, and
I do love that you are bringing this up because that's the exact structure of your
Thanks for
book.
tapping in to this lovely conversation. You're listening to Mindful Honey Podcast. I'm your co host, Riane, and I'm inviting you to click the like button, share this episode, and subscribe to our channel if you're on YouTube. Give us a follow if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Remember, perception is the key to freedom.
Money from 3D to 4D to 5D. And it's such a beautiful and simple matter of fact guide about the faces of money.
Thank you. I really had to get that out of my head into a book, and it's a really short book, but it's like it's just making us some people are not aware that we are living in a multidimensional reality, first of all,
Yeah.
and how it's showing up with money. And I think those people, like, we need to wake up to this or we're going to be taken by surprise. Because
Yeah.
if you're only invested in 3D money, 4D money, it's a big world it's being built before our eyes. So if you're not diversifying your resources along the dimensions, you're going to be caught by surprise in the coming years. So awareness is key right now, and then educating yourself and then taking the right actions that align with you. I tell people whatever has you go to sleep at night. you know, like for me, I was at some point totally in the 4D. All my money was in crypto. And then I was like, shoot, what if the internet goes down? I won't have access
That's
to
real.
anything, right?
That's real.
So,
Yeah.
I took a step back and started looking at 3D and found some systems in 3D, some what I call hacks
Mhm.
that align with me. Putting money in the bank does not align with me, but there's other things in 3D that made sense to me. So
Like
let me share my
gold is a master conductor of electricity. Silver is a
yes,
healing agent. So
yes.
even if you have those two raw materials in your home, you even if they're not represented in the normal to current circumstance normal use of buying and selling goods and services, you have something that you can innovate with.
I've never heard that said. I do talk about gold and silver in my book, but I speak very little of it only because I don't own any. And I don't like to speak much about what I am not doing. But but I'm aware that gold and silver and real estate are 3D hacks that I think are still valid and important to pay attention to, but they're not ones I'm into yet. So when I get into them, I'll be talking more. But right now, even what you said, I'm like, that's so cool. I never heard it put that way.
We're gonna have to talk about homesteading and how that relates to all of that too. But hold on one second. My baby's saying no, and I'm not sure why.
Oh, no, 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 no. Go tend to it, girl. I'm going to share my screen while you do that so I could pull this up. And then, okay, you'll let me know if you can see.
Ooh, okay. This is lovely.
She good?
Yeah.
All good?
Right.
Can you see my screen, Ria? Where it
I
says
can.
notification? Okay, cool. So I'm going to run through this. So first of all, a FIN number. So, have you heard of a FIN number? I know you have, Ria, because we talk about it. So, a FIN number is a financial independence number. It's basically the total amount of money that somebody needs at a specific age to be financially free.
Mhm.
Um,
I call
I
it
don't
the bucket number.
The F it number. I love that. It's the time in your life where you say F it to trading your time for money. Because essentially it's what it is. Some people call it the retirement money, but I don't like to use the word retirement. I mean, what is retirement? Is it just playing golf? Like, I don't want to stop doing what I love to do, right? But I do want to stop what we were saying before, hustling for money,
Yeah.
right? Having my time be spent chasing money so that I can pay bills. So having that amount figured out for yourself based on your lifestyle, based on when you want to set that bar, like for most people, it's at age 65. Maybe you want to set it earlier, whatever it is for you. But not knowing that number, I don't know if you ever played golf, but it's kind of silly to play golf and not know where the hole is. So a lot of people do that. A lot of people are really good at playing golf or they're really good at making money, but they don't know where the hole is. So they end up not keeping it, not growing it, not knowing what to do with it, and having very little to show for the money that they make.
Mhm.
So the first thing we want to do is calculate your fin. You want to know what that number is. You want to know how much you need to save every month to get to your goal, right? So you actually have a specific number. You want to know how to accumulate that money, right? Even like I see people saving money. Not everybody's able to right now, but if you're saving money, they leave the money in their bank account. It's like 1% interest. So they're not accumulating, they're not growing their money. So we show you what you need to do so you don't run out of money. That's the other thing too, is people save or they'll have a retirement account, but then the unexpected curveball happens in life and then boom, they go broke, they run out of money. And then their whole retirement plan, if they had one, goes down the drain. And I say if they have one because most people my age, I'm 44, don't have a retirement plan, right? And we don't have access to pensions, social security, the things that our parents and their parents had access to.
Mhm. Yeah, same.
Don't have
I'm
that.
34, and nobody that I know. Um, yeah.
As an answer to that. And it is, it's really sad because the outcome is we're all going to work till we die unless you do something about it now. And I tell you, 2 years ago, I was in that same boat, and it's not rocket science. It's just that we're not taught these things in school. So let me go through these rules of money to build wealth long term. I really wish this was taught in schools. But that's what we're shifting right now. We're teaching people these things so that we can make smarter money moves and be confident in the money moves that we're making because we understand money and we understand the system, right? And I'm talking specifically the American system and how it works. So you can utilize it. Like, don't be a hater when you see really wealthy people not paying taxes and getting richer. It's not, it's just that they're using the same system that we have access to.
Mhm.
But the education on how to use that system has been what's missing. So the rule of 72, okay, you may have heard of it, you may remember it, but it explains the compounding effect. Very simple. You take 72 and you divide it by the rate of return, like you're getting in an account. It gives you the years to double your money. So, for example, if you have your account, your money in a 1% account, like a savings account at Chase, it means 72 into 1 is 72. So, if you have $10,000 today, it would take 72 years to make that 10 into 20, to double it. That's not sexy at all. If you have an account that pays 4%, which right now, by the way, if you look up high yield savings, you can get an account with SoFi, Amex, Capital One. They pay about 4 to 5%, which is the same thing that a CD pays, except that your money's not locked up in a CD. You have access to it. It's just a savings account. But let's say
Right.
you take that same 10,000 and you put it in a 4% account. 72 into 4 is 18. So in this case, after 18 years, your money will double to 20. And in another 18 years, so in 36 years, you'll take 10,000 to 40,000. If you don't touch the money, right? And it's a 4% account. Now, this is the part that tripped me out, is check this. So I double the interest. So I won't go from 4% to an account that pays 8%, right?
Mhm.
You would think if you double the interest, it would double the outcome. But because compounding effect is magic, and it literally 1 plus 1 is not 2 with compounding. Sometimes 1 plus 1 is 8. Sometimes if you leave it long enough, 1 plus 1 is 11. So if you look at this 72 into 8, it means that every 9 years your money doubles. So here in the same amount of time, in 36 years, your money doubles 2 extra times, which is the difference between $40,000 in 36 years to 160,000 in 36 years. Like, you doubled the interest, but you quadrupled the outcome in the same amount of time. That really blew my mind because I was the person before. I'm like, what's the difference between 2, 3%?
That's
With
incredible.
compounding, it's a big deal. So we actually have, that's the one of the hacks that I discovered, is there are accounts in 3D money with life insurance. So life insurance has these accounts that like act as kind of like saving accounts where you can compound your money in them. And they mirror the S&P 500. So they average, like, based on the market, let's say 6 to 13%. So let's say you have an account like that that's doing 12%. It's going to double your money every 6 years. So look at this. In 36 years, you would have $640,000. That's the
I
difference of
I didn't
600.
even know that there were accounts that go that high in interest. Or wait, did I?
Well, with life insurance, it's interesting because they specialize in what's called indexing strategies. So
Mhm.
they're basically like, they have a net and they have a cap. So in other words, the insurance company takes the risk for you of trading the money in the market. Like, if you have your money in a 401k, Ria, what they don't tell you is your money's at risk. If the market crashes like it did in 2008, it crashed by 38%. Well, people who had their money in there, they lost their money.
Yeah.
Anybody who was smart enough to have it in an indexing strategy account did not lose a dollar that year. In fact, they probably made a little bit of money. So
Wow.
there are things, like I'm telling you, I didn't know this stuff. Most people don't know this stuff, but it's the difference between retiring with 40 grand and retiring with 640 grand.
Right.
Girl. All right, let's move on to the next concept, which is the risk effect. Very simply said, some people stay safe. They leave their money somewhere where, they're safe. It's a savings account, but they have no growth, right? They don't make money on their money. And then other people will drop their money in the market, whether it's stocks, crypto, mutual funds, which is in stocks, 401k IRAs, which is in stocks. And they ride the waves of the market. So that means they make money when the market goes up, but they lose money when the market goes down. And honestly, this type of up and down is kind of like yo-yo dieting. It's very unhealthy and gives you high blood pressure. But at the end of the day, you end up losing money. So
Yeah.
indexing strategies, which I just mentioned, is basically, if you look here, you're going up when the market goes up to a certain amount, you're capped at 12, 13%. But then when the market goes down, you never lose money. And if you know the rules of wealth, per Warren Buffett, he has 2 rules, and they basically say, don't lose money. That's rule number 1. And rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1. So this is the way to wealth here. It's slow and steady wins the race. And then this takes advantage of the first rule, which is the compounding effect. Because here you just keep compounding money on money and making money on your money and never losing money. All right, the third one, I think this one is so important and very overlooked by most people because we think this is something for the really wealthy to worry about, not us, and that's taxes. But the thing is, the average American pays more taxes than the very wealthy, right? We know that and we hear that all the time. People make a lot of money and they pay no taxes. How does that work? Well, because they know the rules of the game. They know that there's three ways we pay taxes on our money: now, later, or never. And they place themselves in this never category as much as possible. And if we can place ourselves in the tax exempt category, we can play that game very well too, where we keep hundreds of thousands of dollars that would throughout our life go towards the government for them to do what they want to do, which we mostly don't agree with what they're doing with our money. Instead of sending it to them, we keep it in our pocket. We take care of our families. We invest it wisely. We save it. We go on vacations. We do whatever the F we want with that money instead of sending it to the government. So, what you want to know about this is there's really only two ways. There may be a third way coming if the current administration passes no capital gains on Bitcoin and certain cryptos, but we're not quite there yet. But we'll see what happens with that. But right now, there's only two unicorns. There's only two ways that you can make money on your money and not pay any taxes on it. Okay. And now there are strategies too, and we can talk about this in another episode, Ria, where you can, even if you have a W-2, you can get exemptions and save on taxes and not pay as much on taxes. But here what we're talking about is making money on your money. So if you make money in the market, you pay taxes the same year. You pay 25 to 30%, whatever your bracket is. If you have a 401k, an IRA, a pension, a tax savings program, it's tax deferred. This is the worst. This is for losers. I don't mean people are losers, but these are the people that lose the most because what's predictable right now, we're in a period where taxes are like at a discount. They're fairly low. And what's predictable is in the future, in the next few years, the taxes are going to keep going up. Right. So if you know that, if you know taxes are going to go up in the next few years, would you want to pay taxes now or later? I mean, logically, we all would say now because it would save us money. So the Roth IRA and the LIRP, which is the life insurance retirement product, are the two only products that you pay taxes up front, like you get paid from your job or whatever, you pay taxes on that. But then the net income that you have, you can put it into these products. And then whatever money you make after that is tax-free. This is key. Especially if you're talking 401ks, people pay a massive amount of taxes on their 401ks. Plus, there's a lot of hidden fees that they don't tell them about. So they get to retirement and they get a nasty surprise called, "This is not what I was expecting for my retirement." Whereas with these products, you can really cash out nicely. So I'm going to move on just because of time. So in summary, this is practical things. You want to know what your FIN number is. You want to put your money somewhere where you're not going to lose it. Be smart with it. Put it somewhere where you can get a good return and benefit from the compounding effect. And do it somewhere where you keep your money. You protect your wealth by paying as little taxes as possible. Okay. So Ria, we're going to offer this to people who are listening as an invitation really to take charge, and as a complimentary gift is the opportunity to get your financial needs analysis done. This takes 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes that will give you access to, I think one of the most powerful things is getting into reality, right? When you say the truth about something and you get into reality, then you can know where you are now and be able to create like a pathway to where you want to be. So an FNA, a financial needs analysis, is like doing an X-ray for your finances. We look at your cash flow. We look at your debt. We look, do you have an emergency fund? We look if you have proper protection. This is where the hacks are. Building wealth and preserving wealth. This is also where the hacks are, paying as little taxes as possible. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen right now, Ria. And really just um, invite people who are listening to reach out to us and schedule a free consultation. And really, there's nothing we're going to try to sell you. There's nothing we're going to push. It's what we
Just
want to give is an
helping
opportunity.
people to know where they're at. Because part of knowing where you're going is knowing where you are, you know.
Yes. And then we can actually give them we do not advise people financially. We have the licenses to do that, but it's more about educating people, because when we educate you with the information that is custom to you, right? Like when people come and say, like, I use food as an example, like, should I eat eggs? Should I eat the yolk? Should I eat the egg whites? Are eggs good for me? You can't answer that because every person is different. We have to blood test you. We'd have to allergy test you, right? It's the same thing with money. Not all products and services are good for everybody. And that's why it's important to sit down with somebody who can really break this down with you and show you what are the solutions that could work best for you and your family based on your current circumstances and based on where you want to go. So I will stop here. Ria, I think we covered a lot today. I really, really, really loved having this conversation with you, and I'm excited to do more.
Me too. This is great. I love having this conversation with you as well. And it's a lovely refresher for me because I'm in that world of learning how to articulate. Like I've been introduced to these concepts and everything. But now I'm learning how to articulate this and share it better. And seeing you or hearing you do it is just, it strengthens that for me. And it also helps me with continuing to write my book, Money Mindset Shift for Single Mom Entrepreneur. So thank you so much for
Thank you. Thank you, Devin, for being awesome and allowing Mama to do this. Thank you, Dimitri. And yeah, till next time.
Yeah,
Awesome.
till next time. Love you.
Love you.
Come. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
No. No.
I didn't do
You won't let me stop it.